Super. Do you want me to start? Would you like me to start sharing the presentation as well, or just do a quick introduction?
Just let us know who you are, Stuart. That would be brilliant. Thank you.
Super. Nice to see everybody. So my name's Stuart Dawks, and I'm the CEO of PECT, formerly known as Peterborough Environment City Trust. So yeah, I'm going to give you a bit of a talk tonight around sort of 30 years of the environment charity and some of the work we've been doing, and the conversation you guys were just having about how that messaging lands and what you might need to use and how you communicate climate change is in some of the presentation as well, some of the learnings that we found most recently as well. Would you want me to begin now?
Yeah, thank you. Sorry, yes.
Yeah, just quickly share. Is that coming through all right? Everybody?
Yeah, that's good.
Lovely. So yeah, so the talk's going to be around sort of 30 years of practical climate and environmental action. Good evening, and thanks ever so much for inviting me along. It's a real honour to be here talking to you lot. I have seen some of your previous speakers, and as I said earlier, some very impressive topics that you guys have covered. So hopefully mine will be just as interesting. So I've been with PECT for the last 10 years, 6 of those as commercial manager and the last 4 as CEO. And I'm very fortunate that at PECT we have an amazing team of people who help deliver brilliant projects and programmes. I very much see my role as that facilitator. So everything I'll talk about tonight is the royal we, but really it's them who are the experts. So who are PECT? Our vision is to protect and enhance the environment throughout Peterborough and beyond, and we do work outside of Peterborough. And our mission is around creating sustainable places, and so we put that in 4 different areas. That the natural environment is healthy, communities are involved in their areas, health and well-being is improved for all, and responsible resource use. And we do that through educating, inspiring that change, encouraging action, and building collaboration. When putting together this presentation and delving into our archives, I think one of the most interesting things was about how environmental work, just how much it's changed, and also how much it hasn't over the years. So when PECT started in the early 1990s, climate change wasn't really part of everyday conversation in the way it is now. A lot of the focus was on sort of those local environmental improvements, recycling, green spaces, sustainable travel, and community projects. But over time, that's evolved into sort of working more around net zero, fuel poverty, biodiversity recovery, and also looking at city scale sort of decarbonisation. But at the core of it, a lot of it's still about people, places, and practical action. So PECT was founded in 1991, originally as Peterborough Environment City Trust, and after Peterborough became one of 4 UK environment cities. There were 4 created, so through a British telecom competition: Leeds, Middlesbrough, Leicester, and Peterborough. And back then there was a real sense of optimism around sustainability and trying to embed environmental thinking into everyday life. And in the early years, there was a lot of community-focused work, improving neighbourhoods, supporting things like recycling campaigns, and helping people think differently around the environment. As the years have gone on, climate change has become more central, and the challenges become more complicated as well. We've started doing much more around energy, fuel poverty, behaviour change, and working with businesses. And most recently, we've been working on some large-scale programmes, looking at net zero planning and biodiversity as well. But interestingly, even though the scales have changed, many of the challenges are still human ones: trust, confidence, affordability, and how you actually help people make change in real life is the key to it. So here's a great picture of some of the PECT team. So today we're an independent sustainability charity. We were part of the City Council for a couple of years in the early days, but since 1993 we became a charitable status, and for the last, I think, 13 years, we've not received any sort of direct funding from Peterborough City Council, so we're fully independent. And we work across a range of areas, so climate action, nature recovery, energy advice, green skills, sustainable businesses, and community engagement, so a full range of them. About 18 months ago, We sort of split up into different flagship programs to help how we communicate more effectively with our clients and stakeholders. And so we have 4 sort of main program areas. So we have investors in the environment. This is our business accreditation scheme. So we work with businesses all across the country, helping them save money, reduce their impact on the environment. And there's an audit process and an accreditation scheme that goes alongside that. We have climate education, which is one of our most recently launched programs. We have an online platform which helps educators bring sustainability into their schools. So that includes things linking to funding, climate action plans for schools, hundreds of resources they can action, fundraising and calendars, etc. The idea is to make it just one place where people can go to get that support, and that's a membership fee. It's £150 for a school to join up for the year. We have Aspect Sustainability Consulting, which is very much our business-to-business offering. We do a range of contracts through local governments and private sector for delivering sort of net zero plans and energy efficiency audits. And then we have a trading subsidiary called Green Energy Switch, which works predominantly in the void energy management sector for social landlords, works with them nationally and helps them manage their energy for when new tenants move in and out of their properties as well. And then everything else that doesn't fit in that fits into PECT, and I'll talk a bit about some of those projects coming up. So we've been delivering sort of behaviour changes at PECT for those sort of 30 plus years, and some of our earlier campaigns are still really quite well known. Things like the Green Wheel, Get a Green Grip and Greenversity, a lot of green in there from historical projects. We're really about making sustainability visible and practical for people. And I think sometimes people assume behaviour change is a bit of a new thing, but actually for environmental organisations, we've been trying to encourage those lifestyle shifts for decades. And what's changed probably is that urgency and the scale of the issue. So back then, we were a lot of time talking about litter and transport or recycling. Now those conversations have turned more into carbon emissions, climate resilience, biodiversity collapse, but the principles are still the same. How do you make sustainable behaviour feel normal, positive and achievable? I'll briefly talk through these projects. So the Green Wheel is probably one of the best known PECT projects. It's a 45-mile network of cycleways around the city. It includes footpaths and bridleways, and it's designed to be part of the sustainable transport system, and it was created as part of the Millennium Wave of projects. It's a really good example of environment work that doesn't necessarily feel overly environment to those people who use it. It helps them improve their wellness, it connects places together, and I think that's quite important, that environmental project work best when they solve other problems at the same time. So for this one, it was around active travel, health, access to nature, community pride, but also in the project it was around accessing heritage sites and art. The Get a Green Grip campaign is quite interesting looking back now, because it was around reusable bags, which are so often used normally these days. And at the time though, it really did require quite an awareness campaign with consistent messaging to encourage sort of habit change. We developed a bag that was given out to people for free and encouraging them to use that rather than plastic bags. And at this focus, it was a really good reminder that behaviour change can change significantly over time, but it usually happens gradually and through lots of repeated nudges and conversations. So it also shows that policy, social expectations and local campaigns sort of all work nicely when together. And finally, I'll just talk about Greenversity. So we ran Greenversity for around 17 years, and it was around green skill sharing. So you could, if you had a skill that you wanted to teach other people around, whether that was from beekeeping or how to fix a bike, you were encouraged to do that. We supported people to train others and then make those shifts. It ran for a long period. It was really well received. I think these days it probably wouldn't have launched so well because you've got ChatGPT and YouTube or whatever else to learn these skills. But at the time, that peer-to-peer learning and sharing worked particularly well. And it was around really about creating that welcome space for people to learn and participate as well. More recently, a lot of our natural environment work has shifted. So we do quite a lot around natural environment. Got 3 projects I'll briefly talk you through: Beelines, Forest for Peterborough and John Clare. And And we're looking increasingly at connectivity and habitats, including things around flood resilience and long-term stewardship that can include those communities looking after and maintaining them. So if I talk through beelines, so beelines is all about creating joined up corridors for pollinators and restoring fragmented habitats. It's part of the National Bug Life Programme of beelines, and we were supporting the work locally around Peterborough. I think one of the things I really liked about the project is how it demonstrates lots of small interventions can contribute to something bigger. And in this case, it was a national programme. So a verge here, grassland there. They might seem small, but collectively they start connecting those landscapes together. And there was a real strong community engagement element to it. So whether that was doing the turf cutting, when the seeds grew, and then even maintaining it over time, people coming together and contributing to their environment, and they could see that change happening as well. Forest for Peterborough is one of our longest programmes. Its aim initially was to plant a tree for every person in the city in Peterborough, so it had a target of 230,000 trees. We are currently around 130,000 trees, and I'll cover at the end a bit about some of the challenges. But tree planting has become hugely popular over the last few years. I think there's now a growing understanding that it's not just about planting trees, it's about putting the right tree in the right place and having the long-term management to look after those trees. And for us, that also includes now understory tree planting as well. So Forest for Peterborough is a brilliant way to bring together businesses, schools and communities. And again, wider benefits than just biodiversity. You've got cooling, flood management, well-being. It also helps have a sense of place for people as well, especially if they've been involved in the planting themselves. I think for one of us, Forest for Peterborough, we've been running it for 17 years, I think. And the biggest challenge at the moment is really around land. So finding suitable land where we can plant trees is quite challenging in the city. And land is at a premium, and you can't guarantee that even if you plant a forest on it or some trees on it, that it's not going to be then sold off and developed. But we continue to deliver it. We've recently signed a lease for 15 years in 2 of our parishes to develop our own nursery, so we can grow on our own trees, make them a bit bigger, a bit more standard size, and hopefully have better establishment rates. But it also gives us a place to take communities to learn about trees and how to maintain them as well. So we're really excited for that. We've got some compost toilets at the moment in the car park waiting to be delivered to the new sites, and everything else. So it's going to be a very exciting adventure for them. And then John Clare Countryside. So we work as part of a wider partnership on this project. It's not just about ecology, it's also about the heritage and rivers, access, farming, well-being and education. And it's one of those realities where this kind of work in the landscapes are quite complicated. There are a lot of different landowners, organisations and priorities involved. So collaboration becomes essential. So hopefully you can sort of see on that map a little bit, but the John Clare Countryside to the north follows the Welland, and to the bottom the River Nene, and then you've got the just to the west you've got Stamford, and to the east you've got Peterborough. So it's the whole area over there, and the plan is to double nature in that area. So we're working with all the major landowners in the area. We've worked with 20 parish councils to help them develop their nature recovery plans. So I was quite interested when you were talking about your climate nature champions. I think that's a similar thing that we're working on. During just after COVID, we secured some lottery funding, which meant that we could work with communities in that area to plant hedgerows, do tree planting, pond creation, develop some educational resources, do some wellbeing walks, geocaching days to get more young people involved, a range of activities. And we've just got a couple of bids out at the moment to various funders to continue that work. But in the background, the landowners are also putting together a master plan that's part of a DEFRA landscape recovery bid as well, to again, how we manage that land for the next sort of 20, 30 years. And they're very much invested in that, which is great to have them as partners on that project. So we do a range of behaviour change programmes. I'll talk about a few of them. But one thing we've definitely learned is that information alone usually isn't enough. So people need that support, whether that's from organisations they trust. It needs to be affordable and practical solutions. And what we try to do through some of our programmes is deliver that. So I'll talk about cool food, and I can stop talking because there's a video coming up. But Cool Food focused on food waste. It was an Interreg funded programme, so a European funded programme. We had some French partners. On the right-hand side, you'll see 10 sort of pictures, and these were the pledges that people could make to help reduce the carbon in their diet. So we had a tool, an online system where you make your pledge, what level you're committing to, and you could track your progress about how you were getting on. The project was brilliant, really well received, so much so that the funder funded us to do Cool Food Pro, and that developed because, I'll let the video explain it, but really when we were having that one-to-one conversation, it was very meaningful, but we were just talking to one person. Cool Food Pro, we talk and work with catering organisations, so rather than one meal a day that we were changing, we can start changing 500 meals a day. And I'll just play this video so that explains a bit more. You'll see at the bottom of that, we currently work on that project with the Soil Association, who are taking this forward on a national scale as well. So it's again, trialling these projects on a smaller scale and then how we then roll them out. And then moving on to Blueprint. So Blueprint was another European funded programme. We worked with local authorities in Kent, Essex, in Peterborough and Brighton, and then we had some French partners as well. And it was focused on circular economy ideas, but in a way that people could actually relate to it in everyday life. That's the role that PECT were playing on it. So a lot of circular economy language can feel quite technical or policy heavy. So one of our aims was to make it more practical and community focused. So we often talk about the 7 R's, so rethink, refuse, reduce, reuse, repair, repurpose and recycle. When we developed a range of projects which included these ideas, including things such as flat recycling. So flats really struggle to recycle their waste. So how we could tackle that. We developed some resources for schools. So you've got down there Fox, who developed about how we can reuse and repurpose materials. We developed a redirectory for the city, so where people could go to get things repaired. And then we also worked with the Peterborough Repair Cafe as well. So again, a really nice project with practical things that people could actually go and do rather than just being sort of the theory based around it. And then the last one on this is around our domestic energy advice. So energy advice work for PECT has grown massively in recent years, particularly during the energy crisis. We now work across Lincolnshire and Cambridgeshire, and lots of households are overwhelmed. The energy system is complicated, retrofit is complicated, and many people are worried about cost. So a big part of our role is simply helping people navigate those things. So we provide trusted and impartial advice, and often relatively small interventions can make a big difference to these people as well. So the picture in the top right there, we have an energy van that travels around the Lincolnshire Wolds, going to those rural communities, helping support those people. We also have an energy trailer at PECT that we take to events. We train frontline workers, and we also have access to some grant funding to help pay debts, as well as pointing people to other grants that might be available for other sort of home improvement measures as well. So it's a great project to be involved in. We can do lots of good with it. Bring It Back. This is a project that was focused on testing practical reuse systems locally, so encouraging people to rethink single-use plastic packaging. It was a project that was funded through Hubbub and through the Starbucks Fund. Across the programme, we worked with 10 locations and we created 22 return points and achieved a 71% return rate while avoiding around 4,000 single-use packaging items. So the reusable cups were in those predominant locations. We worked in Oundle, for example, and all the cafes used the cup, and so you could take the cup back to another shop. It didn't have to be the same one. We worked at Neen Park in Peterborough, so you could buy your coffee or tea, you walk around the park, you drop your cup back off, it gets cleaned, recycled and reused again. So, not life-changing situations, but just making these things a bit more practical for people as well. And we found out that we tested a load of different methodologies around it, but found out that the infrastructure is really important. Making it as simple and visible and accessible as possible really improves recycling rates or use rates. And again, positive and practical messaging works a lot better than making people feel guilty about the waste. So we tried different ones about talking about the impact disposing of your cup in nature would have on animals, or the incentive about bringing it back and why that would be better. So the positive messages definitely worked. We also learned don't make packaging too desirable. We ran a trial in a shared building where they had a cafeteria. We provided some really nice reusable packaging, and unfortunately 50% of it went missing within the first week because people liked it so much they took it home. So again, practical lessons that you learn going along the way. Investor environment I spoke about at the beginning, but this is our sort of business side of things, and that's grown hugely over the last 15 years. We support around 350 organisations, all the way up to Scotland and in Ireland, down along the south coast. We seem to have an awful lot of vets. We have about 120 vet organisations who are part of our membership. But what's interesting is how those conversations have changed over that time. So sustainability was often seen as optional, but now businesses are actually finding us out because they need it as part of their procurement. There's regulation changes, or staff are looking for it in terms of when they're being recruited, and also that business resilience. And businesses are under growing pressure, but many genuinely want to do the right thing. So we provide that through support. We do training, we do events, peer-to-peer, and we have an annual award ceremony as well, where we get some sort of industry speakers to come along as well. And it seems to be growing, which is great, and that provides a diversification for the charity as well. It's a membership scheme, so the funding from that helps cover its costs, but also goes into the charity as well. FutureNow is probably the clearest example of our environmental work that has become much more systems focused. The programme we looked at city scale decarbonisation across Peterborough. It was looking at things like heat networks, retrofit planning, renewable energy and infrastructure. PECT was one of the partners on the project. We worked with the City Council, a couple of tech partners and the Energy Saving Trust, all developing different comms, looking at how we engage with communities. The tech partners developed some online platforms that could generate a heat network from a point and look at what the cost was going to be and the return, and then through to how you would then take that program through the council procurement processes, how you would manage it, measure the outputs from it, as well as then how you communicate that to residents as well. So a lot of theory in that project, but also an awful lot of learning. And I think one of the big lessons in that is that net zero isn't just a technical challenge, it's also about that governance, funding, public engagement and long-term coordination. And we found that public trust really matters. So who was delivering the message was really important. I'm sure it's different in every local authority, but Peterborough City Council sometimes was seen as a trusted partner for delivering it, other times it wasn't, and so therefore a third sector organisation would be better to be delivering that advice. So depending on the messaging, depends on who's presenting it as well. The other challenge is that we also see how fragmented those funding and short-term funding can be, which makes long-term delivery of these types of programs quite challenging. And a lot of climate work still relies heavily on short-term funding cycles, while the actual challenges we have are multi-decade. So how do we keep that funding? I'm going to play another quick video which just sort of shows some of the things that are going on in Peterborough.
Peterborough's got a fascinating history, you know, but what's happening now is even more exciting. The city is working on ways of making its residents' lives greener, cleaner, cheaper and healthier, with a whole bunch of initiatives for homes and businesses. If you own your own bike, you're probably already aware of our vast network of cycle paths, which weave through some of the best lush green spaces in the UK. And more employers are helping their staff cut the cost of getting on a bike with the Cycle to Work scheme. Cutting commuting costs, boosting your mental and physical health, and putting a big smile on your face. Did you know Peterborough is one of the most solar-powered cities in the UK? More and more homes, businesses and even schools are retrofitting solar panels, reducing their carbon footprint and their energy bills. Imagine if this could generate enough electricity to power 500 homes. And it's not just new homes. Here at Peterborough College, they're training up a team of retrofitters to install green technology on existing buildings. Not only cutting energy costs, but boosting local employment and providing skills for the future. It's all happening here. But even if they're not fitting a heat pump to your building, the city will soon be benefiting from heating generated from your household waste. Thanks to this incredible energy recovery project. They're actually turning waste like this into this. But not these though. These are definitely recyclable. And there are plenty of recycling bins around the city. And there are more and more of these across the city, enabling emission-free journeys and improving our air quality. Even the taxis are going green. And with more EV and hybrid taxis in the city than ever before, anyone can do their bit. I've seen the future, and it's the future now.
So I think one of the most interesting parts of the programme for me was because it focused on how we actually communicate climate action to local communities. A big part of the learning was that people simply don't connect with that technical net zero language, but what people really do connect with are practical things like they want warmer homes, they want lower bills, healthier communities, cleaner air, and a better local environment. So the FutureNow branding intentionally focused on being positive, local and relatable. And not, you'll notice that the colours, they're not the normal green colours or eco colours, they're very bright. And the engagement strategy also recognised that communication shouldn't just be about broadcasting that information. We really need to listen, test those ideas with communities and adapt the language as well. So as the gentleman said in the video, we're looking at cleaner energy, stronger communities, a brighter tomorrow. So really that positiveness around it. And we followed that through into the website, the FutureNow website. Again, bold colours, positive messages, and loads of tips and advice across the website as well. I think my favourite is the HomeWise tool that we have, which we released from the Energy Saving Trust. You can put in your address and your postcode, and it looks at your EPC information and a few other sources, and then it can recommend things that you might be able to do in your home, and you can choose whether that's an available budget or just looking at what's going to have the most impact in terms of cost or carbon. So a really useful tool. We also tried to demyth some of the things around some of the technologies that are coming in around things like heat pumps and how they work, so that people can make an educated choice as well for some of these decisions. I am coming near the end of the presentation, so I'll stop talking soon, but I wanted to talk about our Green Social Prescribing project. So this is a really good example of how environmental work is increasingly overlapping with health and well-being. So we have funding through the Healthy Futures Fund, and we're delivering nature-based activity community engagement for Peterborough residents, so particularly supporting those who are experiencing frailty or long-term health conditions. We've been generating and working with partners a load of activities, including outdoor wellbeing sessions, walking groups, walking football, community gardening. We've done Tai Chi in the park and other sort of nature-based activities. And we've worked with around 120 residents in the programme. One of the things is really powerful about the Green Social Prescribing is that it supports those multiple outcomes. So it improves people's physical and mental well-being, it can reduce loneliness, it helps people reconnect with each other, but also their local communities and with nature. And a lot of people don't join because they're thinking about the environmental motivations. They join because they want that social contact, but it often develops into much stronger connections with the local green spaces and environment issues as well. So I guess one of the challenges that we all have is that this sort of funding is short-lived. The project comes to the end at the end of this month. We'd like to continue it, but trying to find funding is just challenging for some of these things. Most funders like innovative new projects. They don't like to refund things that are already existing. And sort of to finish really is we engage with lots of different audiences, whether that's schools or businesses or individual groups, and all of those require a sort of different level of engagement, a different way of thinking and a different way of communicating. So we do that through different activities. We've got the first photo up there is engaging with schools, taking kids outside into nature and exploring. The next photo along is we've done practical food recipes with teaching people to cook, but using food from the community fridges, so healthy food, locally sourced or waste food. We work with young people, and the picture of the kids there growing some tomato plants is actually in a sheltered accommodation building. So again, different generations. The next picture, getting communities to involve in their green spaces. The next picture is about feeding the 1,000. So a few years ago, we had a festival called There's No Planet B, and as part of that, we fed 1,000 people with surplus food or waste food. Again, eco awards and just engaging practical in things, whether that's cycling or whatever else. So just to end really on sort of the presentation, I think one of the biggest lessons is probably that that lasting change takes time. We've developed really strong partnerships and they really matter. Trust really matters as well, we found, and those local relationships. And while national policy is obviously important and a huge amount of practical climate action actually happens locally, whether that's through councils and charities, businesses, communities, it can feel quite slow, but local delivery really does have a big difference. So the pictures here, the first picture at the top there is our first tree being planted. The next one is our 100,000th tree being planted. We've got some of our businesses who are sort of the first ones to do invested in the environment, and then picture from our awards last year. Got the opening of the green wheel there in the top right, and again, still being used by residents today. So these things grow and hopefully gain momentum. And I put this slide in about an hour ago. So today we held our school sustainability showcase. This is the 13th year that we've held this, and this takes the green champions, kids from various schools across Peterborough and Cambridgeshire. We bring them together. They demonstrate all the great work that they've been doing in their schools. They speak so positively about it. They're so enthused about it. In the morning, we do a range of different sessions. So we have Frog Life there. We've had Recoup there this morning. Dig for Britain. They do a range of different activities. Not Dig for Britain, Dig for History. Loads of different activities, and then in the afternoon they pitch about why they should win their awards and all the great work they've done. And I'll be honest, it's probably my favourite day of the year. So it's been a busy, long day today, but they give you the encouragement and energy to continue. So and I guess just to end on, despite all those challenges, I think there's still huge opportunities ahead. There's a growing interest in nature recovery, retrofit, green skills, community energy, healthy places. And I think there's also a growing understanding that climate action needs to be fair, practical and inclusive, and we try and deliver that through our projects. And we had this designed a few years ago, but quite like the messaging and what do you want tomorrow to be? It's about what people want that to look like, and maybe they don't talk about climate change or biodiversity loss, but they talk about things that make it important to them. So yeah, happy to take some questions. These are just some pictures that I found that didn't make it into the presentation, but I quite like. Lots of different activities and things that we've done and supported over the years. But yeah, I'll stop there and hopefully find out how to stop sharing as well. Happy to take any questions.
Stuart, that was brilliant. Who's got a question? Bruce,
Martin.
do you want to go?
Yes, please. Brilliant. Thank you for your presentation. Really appreciate. I'm from Market Harborough. We're a mini Peterborough, except we don't have we're unparished, and we're next to 3 counties. We're on the Upper Welland, and have been working now for 6 years on very similar things to what you have there, with lots of different groups. But we'd love the opportunity for your team to come and help us, because we don't have any funding. We're applying to Anglian Water for the Thriving Communities Fund at the moment. But we're trying to get a green wheel in, but that means we've got to convince Leicestershire County Council to spend money. We're trying to reduce our flooding with our flood action group. We planted 55,000 trees. We work with East Mersey Rivers Trust, Leicestershire Rutland Wildlife Trust, and everybody else we can possibly motivate in our neglected area. So any way you could help us would be brilliant, because we're newbies and we need your experience.
More than happy to see how we can help. I said to Jane at the beginning of the meeting, we've got a lot of stuff on the website, but also just learnings that we've had throughout the years. My sister actually lives in Market Harborough, so more than happy to come over there as well. So, and again, can share those learnings that we've had from the Green Wheel. I'll be honest with the Green Wheel, it was developed as a Millennium project, so it's now sort of 26 years old. And it needs some love in Peterborough as well. But finding funding to support that has been a real challenge. The lottery have sort of said we funded it once, we're not funding again. And the City Council really just can't justify spending on it, because when they do their Red Book analysis, it's not a commuter route. It goes around. It's a class as a leisure. So, it's maintained by a bit of volunteering. And last year we put a bit of money into improving some of the signage as a charity. But again, it's how that long-term legacy looks at it as well. But yeah, more than happy to
That's brilliant. Sorry, just to add also, we're the second highest risk flood town in Leicestershire. So we've got 2,300 properties at risk. So our flood action group are working with Anglian Water at the moment on an Adopt Your Flood Risk Asset scheme, whereby we get community skills to go out and double check everybody's assets so that we can protect ourselves, because it's not their risk, it's our risk. Yeah, thank you.
That's good. I spent 19 years of my early career working for an engineering company in the coastal and rivers department, so I know I know a little bit about flooding. So
okay,
not a lot, but a little bit.
Brilliant.
Okay. There's a brilliant presentation. Absolutely amazing. You've gone on for 30 years. I mean, just as amazing as all the projects is that you've managed to get continual funding for that time, which is phenomenal. My question was really, I believe at the moment you're a Labour council. Would it have any material effect if if reform got in with obviously climate change sceptical policies?
Really good question. Labour are in at the moment, but they're not the majority party at the moment. Actually, Conservatives are, but they've formed a bit of a coalition, because the Conservatives ran it for 14 years, and then Labour had it for 2, and I think the Greens, and they've got a couple of independents that have made it up. I think it would do, yes, very much so. We've seen that already. We work in Lincolnshire, and they've got a reform council. We had to rebrand one of our net zero programs for businesses to focus on energy efficiency, but the officers are very keen on these things as well. So whilst the councils might have a reform sticker, the officers still understand the benefits of these things and what needs to happen. So I think it will have an impact potentially, and we were already seeing funding shift as well. 2-3 years ago there was a lot more talk about climate change. It's gone very quiet recently, and so yes, we're fortunate that we've been going for sort of 30 years, but it's not been easy over I guess probably, but the reason I joined the charity, I came in to help diversify some of its income streams, because a lot of them have dried up, and we've been very fortunate that we've got sort of subsidiary companies that can gift aid to the charity. But we've spent a long time diversifying our income. So the programs I talked about, Investors in the Environment and Climate Education, not so much climate education, but Investors in the Environment is there to provide a business need and a need, but actually it should make an income for the charity that we can reinvest. So we typically have a sort of a third of contracts that we're working on, whether that's sort of healthy schools contracts or business support contracts. A third of our funding comes through grants potentially, and then a third through sort of membership schemes and as well. So, and that means if something at the tap stops on one, it means that hopefully the others can keep going. but it's tricky. And even at the moment, we got a piece of work just this evening, which was for £20,000, and it was like, yay, we've got some money coming in, because a lot of the projects come to an end, and so you're sort of waiting for the next one. So yeah, it can sometimes feel a bit hand to mouth. But having said that, we've got a brilliant team, and so we try to keep them going and supporting. So wherever we can, we're happy to sort of deploy and help.
Thank you very much.
Anyone else got a question? Bruce again, hello.
Sorry, can I? Yeah, this political thing can be a major problem. Interestingly, our best member responsible for flooding is Reform, but he's brilliant. He's absolutely superb, and he's been extremely active and very useful. So I don't care what colour they are, as long as their action is responsible, then that's superb. We also have some really difficult political problems where flooding, for instance, is being used as a political football to create fear for political gain, not by Reform, by another group, or the Conservatives, and they are telling flood victims that their flooding is going to increase if there's any new developments, and this is just a disgraceful opportunity for political gain by exploiting vulnerable flood victims, and we're working constructively against that at the moment, not on a political basis, but by supporting the flood victims.
Thanks, Bruce. Jane, did you want to jump in?
I just wanted to say that I was really impressed and interested in what you were saying about having to communicate in different ways to different people, and about sometimes it isn't about talking about net zero or climate change, not necessarily for political reasons, but simply because that doesn't catch the imagination of a lot of people. Sometimes it's got to be about something different, hasn't it? It's got to be about to be about what's in it for them, and also the idea of building stronger communities, I think, is such an important thing. That communities can work together to deliver some of this stuff, but they need that impetus, and they need somebody to give them that structure to do it within, I think. Yeah,
very much so. And we found for all this in the past, you have some great communities, and a lot of the time it's spearheaded by one or two people, and if they step away, then things can fall off. So it's really about building that community resilience, and we're doing that in the John Clare. We've got 21 parishes. I think I said 20 earlier, but there's 21 parishes, and some are brilliant and do lots. Others are one or two people in their parishes really trying to fight the good fight. And so a lot of the work is around bringing those people together and sharing. So those parishes who have got groups of 20 or 30 people will send 10 or 15 to your next parish next door, or go and show what you've done with yours. We've got people who do newsletters, so again we share them through the website, etc. So it's about sharing of those resources, sharing of those stories, and for people to be. A lot of the time we just if they want to get on with it, and giving them the right to go, actually you can start this group, or you could do this, or this is who you need to speak to. Just giving them the agency to go, actually you can go and do something as well. But you're right, the messaging is really, really key. It's around what's in it for them, but a lot of the time it's not just what it's for their community. So do you want to live in a safer, nicer community? Well, wouldn't it be nice if we had the planters outside planted? Okay, well that's the first step, and once we've done that, how can we maybe come together to look at a community energy scheme, or start building on these things? And you don't have to talk about it in terms of net zero, but would you like cheaper electricity? Or yes, okay, well this might be the scheme for you. So working through those.
Thank you.
Hello, Rachel, come on in.
Hi, sorry, I missed the beginning of the presentation, so you may have answered this. I was just wondering, is this all done by volunteers, or do you have people that sort of work full time for the charity? Or because it seems like, I know it's over 30 years, but it seems like a lot of work, and I was just wondering how you manage to get volunteers and recruit people to help with these things.
So we're a team of 20 in the charity, and the subsidiaries got 20 people as well. So not small, but not massive charity. And we took a conscious effort a couple of years ago that we used to sort of recruit people on project basis, and they would come and deliver for 6 months, a year, 18 months, and then disappear. We took the sort of consensus that we wanted to keep that knowledge in-house. So we have a team, and we're very fortunate that people generally work across multiple projects, so that when one project finishes, that they've still got something else, and we can maintain that. We do have volunteers. We have some really good volunteers, especially for a lot of the natural environment stuff, the tree planting, wildflower creation, etc. We've got some volunteers who've got some highly skilled. So we actually have a PhD doctor in bee science who helped with the Beelines project. So again, having some of those people. We've got brilliant ecologists that we work with on John Clare Countryside who again give up their time and volunteer to give some of those walks. I think I said earlier, but the partnerships that we have is the main thing for PECT as well. We work very closely with organisations like the Langdyke Trust, who manage a number of nature reserves to the north of the city and are heavily involved in the John Clare Countryside. They're completely volunteer-led and very happy to sort of share skills and knowledge. And we work with other organisations in the city and wider as well that are volunteer-led. And I very much see our role as, you know, we can, if where we have the resources and capacity to help, then let's do that and help those other organisations. So whether that's lending them some of the kit that we have, whether spades or whatever else, or a thermal imaging camera, that's our role, that we can help facilitate those. Yeah, and there's brilliant organisations that do lots of different things. The Repair Cafe, another volunteer-led organisation, but we lend them some admin support here and there as well for whenever they need it. So PECT doesn't have huge amounts of volunteers though, and we do struggle sometimes with recruiting volunteers. And a lot of that is that most of our work, especially around sort of the people want to get involved in, such as tree planting, takes place over the winter months, and people don't typically want to come out in the rain and the cold to plant trees. And because we haven't owned our own land in the past, doing some activities is very reliant on where we can plant trees or where we can do activities on other people's land. So it's very hard to get that, let's come down on a Wednesday afternoon and volunteer, because we can't guarantee that that's going to be the case. Now we have the tree nursery. We're hoping that's going to be a bit more. We've got a space that people can come to, rain or shine. There'll be a shelter there and stuff as well. So hopefully that will encourage more people to come and volunteer as well.
Yeah. Thank you. Thanks.
Thanks, Stuart. David?
Thank you. I've been involved in a couple of groups, and one of the biggest problems that we face was having an idea and then turning that into a project and then gaining funding necessary to carry it through. Is that the sort of work you can help and advise with?
Yeah, certainly. We've got a brilliant business development manager or fundraiser who's really good at doing that. We're the same. We have lots of great ideas, and sometimes you have to develop those ideas and put them on the shelf and wait for a funder to come along who says, that's what I'm after. And there are lots of different smaller funds out there as well. So it's about sort of just keeping an eye on what comes across. The Thriving Communities one from Anglian Water, you know, I know lots of people are looking at that, but there are lots of smaller ones as well. In Peterborough, we have a couple of the Milton Estates, for example, have a small charitable arm that, you know, give out small pots of funding. So depending on what the project you're interested in doing, we might be able to advise on potentially where funding might come from. And I'll be honest, I was speaking to somebody the other day. They've started using AI to help them in their bid writing. This is a repurpose, reusing organisation. They take paint and recycle it and then resell it on and create new paint from it. And you know, they rely heavily reliant on grant funding, and so they're putting lots of bids out. So she was telling me that AI has been a great help for her, because it's only her that does that piece of work in her organisation. So I know there's various views around AI, and but actually there's some benefits that we're seeing within the charity sector that might help you fill out some of these what often are the same questions but slightly reworded. So but yes, very much get in touch if you've got an idea, and I can put you in touch with Trevor, our business development manager, or I can help.
That's brilliant. Thank you.
I should explain that David is part of Transition Town Northampton. I think you're speaking on behalf of them, David. Yes. Bruce, again, if you're ready.
Yes, thank you very much. I just wanted to add, one of the things we're finding is the lack of trust and hope, this is where the community groups can really make a difference, because we're doing work through friends of friends, and that builds trust with landowners, and the landowners we need. Without them, nothing happens. And doesn't matter who the local council are or what have you. It's the landowners who are the kings. We've really got to build trust with the landowners. So we do that through hedge planting and tree planting. And then the other thing I wanted to say on green social prescribing is we asked our volunteers after 6 years, our key members, why they're still doing it out in the winter in the rain, planting trees, and what are the 3 most important things. And if you removed one of those important things, they would stop coming. And they voted on this, and the 3 things that came up, the most important thing was their well-being. That's why they're doing it. It's their well-being. It's doing something positive and having fun doing it, and seeing the results of the work that you've done. And it's a bit like litter picking and all these other things. It's their well-being was number 1. Number 2 was education, and number 3 was the environment and nature. And so I think that this is crucially important. It's a real motivator in terms of helping people get on with something really worthwhile. So thank you.
Yeah, no, trust is one of those big things, and we're fortunate that we have a legacy of 30 years. So for those who know us, they trust us and trust that we can deliver. But we often work with other organisations, whether that's faith groups or other community organisations that have that trust in those communities as well to share some of those messages. I didn't put it in the slides, but one of the projects we worked on many years ago was called Faith in the Environment, and that worked with all the different religious groups in the city, talking to them about sustainability, but in a way that resonated with them depending on their particular religion. And again, working with different imams or priests or whoever to help pass that message on, which worked really nicely in terms of different communities that traditionally we weren't engaging with as well. But I'll be honest, we've been in Peterborough 30 plus years. We're probably one of Peterborough's best kept secrets. If you're interested in the environment, you probably know us, and if you're not, you probably haven't heard of us. You might have come across one of our projects, but a lot of the time when we do our projects, they have fancy names and it's not necessarily linked to PECT. So the Beelines project was great because that's a bug life name with it. The FutureNow project, again, brilliant branding, but PECT then sort of is in a bit more in the shadows. So it's those who know us trust us, but those who don't, is about building that trust as well.
Jane.
Yeah, sorry, just a quick one for me. So one of the things the many things that you talked about there was that you've got a register of places where people could go to get things repaired, and I think that's a really interesting idea. So I think that's perhaps something we ought to look at doing, because it seems like it's something that should be quite achievable and you can just keep adding to over time. But just quite a simple idea. Thank you very much. Yeah,
we put gave out window stickers for those organisations as well, just to help encourage that. And it sort of came back off years ago. There was the refill campaign from city to sea. So you get your water bottle filled up, and we were part of that. But again, just putting a simple sticker in the window sort of saying you can get things repaired here, really benefited as well. So, and it was cycle shops and whatever else. And there's lots more organisations you think actually out there that will do a repair than people think about. Yes, yeah, indeed. Thank you.
Anybody else? Stuart, that's absolutely brilliant. Thank you so much. You've inspiration from start to finish. Well done. Thank you very much.
Happy to share the presentation with Jane as well if you want.
Yeah, please, if you don't mind, that'd be really, really appreciated. Thank you. Yeah, no, that was really good. Excellent to see that good things can still be done. And I loved that you talked about your schools day to day. Sounds amazing. And did you think about the effect that's going to have on the lives of those young people going forwards? It's brilliant. Yeah, they all took pledges away with them to take home and back to their schools as well, which is a nice way to have done it. Yeah.
Excellent.
So, Jane, shall we just do some housekeeping? Stuart, if you want to sort of duck out, thank you so much indeed.
Lovely to meet you all, and thank you very much.
It's really great.
Thank you so much. Thank you for giving up your time. Really appreciate it.
Jane's got my email for those who want to get in touch as well. So thanks.
Yeah.
Bye.
Great, thank you. I just wanted to make a quick announcement about the People's Emergency Briefing film that we're showing in Towcester, in Brackley, and the University of Northampton is putting it on. So it's on Corn Exchange, and if you are able to get to a Friday in Towcester on the 5th of June, or in Brackley on the 19th of June, or in the university on the 23rd of June, that would be great. The purpose of the film is to spread awareness of the issues, but mostly to get communities to come together to discuss how we progress from where we find ourselves today, which is not very far advanced in terms of adapting to the future. We need to encourage government to do a great deal more, and the People's Emergency Briefing is an initiative that's picking up steam across the country. There's about 1,100 at the moment screenings across England. So, Rachel, sorry, you've got your hand up. Hello.
No, that's fine. Sorry, I was regarding the briefing. I've booked to come to the one at the university. I am part of a national group called Parents for Future, which campaign on making things better climate-wise, mainly focused on children. They have produced some leaflets specifically for the briefings to just give people details of Parents for the Future if they want to join that organisation. And I just wondered if you'd be open to having any of those leaflets at the briefings. Are you going to have tables where people can say, you know, this is what you can join these groups if you want to take some action?
Well, I think two things there, Rachel. First of all, thanks very much. Why don't we do a piece in Corn Exchange, which is our online newsletter? If we can get in touch with you to get some information about that. And certainly there'll be a reception desk at all these presentations. So if you've got leaflets, we can distribute those at that point. And if you are going to come to the university, then circulate.
I'm quite willing to wear my Parents for Future t-shirt and stand by the desk if I need to. That's fine.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Jane, anything else?
I think the only other bit of housekeeping, normally we talk about the date of the next meeting, which is Thursday, the 18th of June. We don't currently have a speaker book for that meeting, so there's a bit of debate over what we're going to do at the moment. So we'll have to watch this space for that one.
Well, perhaps I could ask a question. We've got the original recordings that were made in November in Westminster when these heroes made their briefings. We were contemplating showing those as standalone mini TED Talks. Each one is about 8 or 10 minutes. I don't know if that might be interesting for anybody. If you have watched them on YouTube, then of course it's replication, but they're quite good. Is there anybody waving their hand saying yes or no? Okay.
Didn't already, but yeah, I'd happily watch them again. Can I ask, Harry, have you got speakers or people to do the discussion afterwards for these 3 meetings?
The university have organised something very special with some professor of how to talk to people chairing it. And I have to say, Jane and I, as the sort of the people who've done all the paperwork on this, have not got any answer to your question, Martin. So the answer is no. Are you volunteering to facilitate?
No expertise in this. You haven't managed to get Mike Reader on board.
I think so. Danielle Bird, who is organising the university event, has, I believe, written to all the MPs within Northampton. I'm not sure whether she's had any response from any of them yet. But from what I can understand, and Harry knows much more about this than me, what we're talking about is not sort of having more presentations or anything after the film. It's about having a sort of facilitated discussion with members of the audience, so really encouraging people to engage with each other and come up with ideas about what they can do in response to seeing the film. So I think we haven't got facilitators in organised yet, but I'm sure we will have.
And I would be grateful for anybody who can come along to Towcester or Brackley to help with the stewarding, if that would suit your diary.
I think
Thank you,
Rupert's
Rupert.
waving his hand.
Or are you waving your hand with agreement?
Yeah.
Or
I did talk to Jonathan about facilitating, because I know he's a very good facilitator, and he is the West Northants Council climate chap. So he'd be a very good person for this facilitating, and representing Corn as well. So he's got several hats, and he knows how to do it.
Excellent.
But he won't be able to do all of them, so he's a busy man. So I was hoping to get a showing done in Brinkton and for our 3 parishes, and also possibly Kingsthorpe Library, and there are other places too that are popping up requesting it. So I rather nab Jonathan with these ones.
yes, yeah, we need to get our kit together, don't we, Rupert? Jane, hello.
Hello, I'm sorry, I'm new to the group, so hello everybody. It's lovely
Welcome.
lovely to meet you all. Just to say, I'm based in Brackley, and I will be coming to the Brackley screening, and I'm happy to help in any capacity in Brackley.
Fantastic.
That's brilliant. Thank you so much.
And I noticed that Kate has also dropped a note into the chat saying that she's happy to help in Brackley. Now, I don't know, Kate, whether you mean with facilitation or whether you mean just in general with sort of signing people in and stewarding. Both would be very welcome.
So let me turn my video on. Yeah, no, I'm happy to come on the evening and do what you want. Just let me know.
That's
Fantastic.
absolutely brilliant. If we just rock up a few minutes earlier, that would be great. Perhaps
yeah, and hi Jane. I'll meet you.
Hello,
Other Jane.
yes.
Sorry, there's 2 Janes there. Jane,
sorry.
Jane Rogers and Bradley. Well, look forward to meeting you there. Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll drop you an
that
email if we may, Jane, Kate. Thank you.
I can say that Kate is very good at this sort of thing, so excellent to have her on board.
Good, thank you.
Oh, thank you, Rachel. Rachel says she could steward in Northampton. She also shared a link to the petition about it's let me just, what did you say it was? You put it in earlier, didn't you? Where did you say? Oh, an online to get the briefing shown on national television, which I think, definitely is something that should happen.
Yeah, I think Chris Packham started it this week or the week before or something.
Yes, indeed. Yeah, and I think I looked just before we started the meeting. It was about 1,100 signatures from a standing start 2 days ago. 1 day ago.
Yeah.
Okay. We got.
Well, there's only one other thing I wanted to say. We don't have a date yet, but we are looking to have so people that have been with the group for a little while will know that we occasionally, sort of every 3 months or so, have an in-person social gathering at Northampton Museum on a Saturday afternoon. So we need to set a date for that. And everybody's welcome. And they're normally just really interesting, fun events where you just get to meet people face to face and have a nice chat about interesting things. And we'll get the date out as soon as we can.
Were you looking somewhere in June, Jane?
Yeah, probably June, I think. Yeah, that probably, maybe sort of mid-end of June, I think.
Excellent. Anybody else got anything to say? Well, it's lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for joining us. Stuart was a bit apprehensive, having followed Dr. Goldyer and our professor from Warwick University, but I think he was very good value. And,
he was excellent.
We'll drop him a line and say thank you.
Yes, so it was fantastic. Yeah, really enjoyed that.
Thanks all very much anyway. So, yeah.
Thanks very much. Goodbye.
Thank you very much indeed.
Yeah, thank you.